when people move to Charlotte, they know one side of town. Let's be real. If they put another thing in South End is going to explode. What nightlife? What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Z here. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below if you are new to the team. So in today's video, as y'all can probably tell from the title and probably what made you click, we are talking about all things Charlotte, 704, the Queen City, everything about my hometown. So if you're interested in seeing this video, please keep watching. All right, guys, so I am long overdue for doing this video. I got so many requests to do this video after I posted my empty apartment tour. I'll link it up here for you guys to check out. But I got so many just like comments asking for me to do like a pros and cons video of all the things of living in Charlotte. And I feel like I've seen a couple of these videos here on YouTube, but they're all from people who are literally not from Charlotte. So people who have just moved here or have been here for a few years. But I didn't see any videos from the perspective of people who are native Charlotteans. Yes, we are very rare. We're unicorns, as they call us. But yes, I was born and raised here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Queen City, hometown. But I also do have the perspective of comparing it to living in other cities, because I have lived in 2 other major cities. I've lived in DC for college, as well as I moved to New York after college. So in this video, we're just gonna be talking about the pros, cons, everything of living in Charlotte, while also comparing it to other major cities that I have lived in, because I do feel like a lot of people who eventually do move to Charlotte come from either like up north or out west. They come from other major cities. So Charlotte is growing at rapid rates, and we're here to talk about it, okay? We are here to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first category that we're going to talk about is housing, which I feel like is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, that a person looks for when they are moving to a new city. So yes, Charlotte housing. Let's talk about it, okay? Compared to your northern cities or other major cities, yes, our rent and like housing prices are affordable. I know when I moved to New York right after graduating from college, my first apartment, which was literally like, they marketed it as a 2-bedroom, but it was a 1.5, was $1,600 in Harlem, but that was in 2015, 2016. And literally it was a closet. My room was literally like a closet. So comparing that to, you know, comparing rents to major cities like New York or LA and DC and things like that, our housing is definitely affordable. However, as someone who has been born and raised here in Charlotte, the rents are getting ridiculous. They're ridiculous, just flat out being honest. And I know people who come from other major cities who are used to paying, you know, $2,000 and $3,000 and things like that. You get down here and you see, oh, $1,500, that's nothing. For the people who are from here, apartments that used to be like $800, $900, jumping up to $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 rents, that's ridiculous. So I see it from both ends of the spectrum. If you're coming from a major city and you see something for, like, take my old apartment for an example, again, it's linked up in the cards for you guys. That was a high-rise apartment. It was roughly about $1,650 for a 1-bedroom high-rise. I would have not been able to get that anywhere else in New York, but as a Charlotte rent price, that's kind of pricey. So it's definitely a give and take. So if you're coming to Charlotte from maybe like a smaller city, I know a lot of people from South Carolina like to move to Charlotte. If you're moving to Charlotte from a much smaller city, the rent prices are going to be a lot higher than what you're used to. If you're moving to Charlotte from a bigger city, the rents are going to be probably a little bit, you know, less than what you're used to paying. So that's renting. Let's go into buying, because your girl has started the process of looking to buy a home. That's always been one of my goals, to purchase a home in my home city, whether I plan on staying here or not long term, which I don't, but you know, I always wanted to make sure that I have a property in my home city. Like, I knew prices were rising, but they just rising a little too much. And for me, I don't want to have to go to the outskirts of Charlotte, which I feel is happening to a lot of Charlotte natives who want to buy homes here, or you know, have some sort of property here. We're having to go to the outskirts a little bit, like the Huntersvilles, the Concords, things like that. No, my number been 704 since 92, and I wanted to stay 704. So like I said, I've started the process, and can y'all stop? Can y'all please just stop? It's a bit much. I'm open to both townhomes and single family homes. But listen, when these townhomes are pushing the price range of $300 and above, what? For a townhouse? Like, something ain't adding up. Something is not adding up. And right now it is completely a seller's market. It is not a buyer's market. So I do also have that in mind. But the pricing of housing is definitely going up, up, up. Yeah. When I compare, prices and obviously housing prices change every single year. It's never going to be, the same year after year. But to see the rate that housing prices are going up here in Charlotte specifically, because the demand is so high, it really just makes it hard for, again, people who have lived in the city all their life and want to purchase homes here. It just makes it a little bit harder. Just a little bit harder. So definitely keep that in mind. I try to see it from both ends of the spectrum. Like I said, people who come here from other major cities where they see our housing market and be like, oh my gosh, this is so affordable. This is like pennies on the dollar, But it's really not. And especially for Charlotte to be, again, a southern city, the prices is looking real up northish, and it's like that's not what we about down here. That's not how we do things. But I will say, they are literally throwing up apartments left and right. Everywhere you turn, there's a new apartment building coming up. I'm pretty much moved to a pretty new apartment building. This is only its second year up. And my rent for a 1-bedroom, my rent is a little over $1,400. It's a lot more space than what I had in my previous apartment, but I wanted, that whole high-rise experience, because again, once I moved back to Charlotte from New York, I moved into that apartment, so it still gave me like those city-like feels. But was it worth it? Absolutely not. But you just gotta have it for the experience. And yeah, so that's housing. Let's move into jobs, because you can't go nowhere if you ain't got no job. Okay, how you gonna pay your rent? So I will say, Charlotte is for certain industries, Charlotte is definitely the move. If you are in the healthcare field, if you are in the banking, like finance, that field is definitely for you. Our main healthcare providers here are Novant and Atrium. We have a huge hub for medical and things like that. So if you're a nurse, doctor, anything in the medical field, definitely Charlotte is a great city for that. I feel like a lot of people here work in the healthcare field, so it's definitely a great city for that career option. If you're in finance, Charlotte is one of the, I want to say it's the second largest banking city in the country. We have so many headquarters here, you know, have main offices for their banks here. You have Wells Fargo, Bank of America. I believe Ally is coming here as well, or they're in the process of building that building now. You have TIAA. So yeah, there's a lot of different financial companies here that you can, you know, if that's your field, that you probably wouldn't have an issue with finding a job in. But as the city grows, more and more companies are starting to come here. There are quite a few fashion companies as well. If you're not new to my channel, you know I am a assistant buyer for a resale company here in Charlotte. So you have a couple of different ones. You have Rack Room / Off Broadway, who's here. You have Belk, who's here. You have Cato, that is here as well. So yeah, there are quite a few different like major fashion companies who have their headquarters here. And then aside from that, you have Harris Teeter, who's headquartered here. I believe Honeywell is coming here very soon as well. So definitely Charlotte has become a lot of oh, and I think Krispy Kreme just opened here too, for the foodie people. Krispy Kreme's headquarters is here as well too. There are a lot of companies who are looking in Charlotte as well as, you know, surrounding Charlotte areas to build campuses for their companies. As you may know, if you may heard, Apple is opening one, a campus. It's not in Charlotte, but the Raleigh area. But I do feel like that's gonna affect everything in the housing market and all of that in Charlotte as well. So a lot of companies are targeting in on Charlotte. They see how fast Charlotte is growing. Charlotte has become, I want to say, like the 15th largest city in the United States. So that's interesting. But let's talk about the pay with these jobs. So I will say, when you do decide to make that move to the South, just in general, say you're coming from up north, like when I moved back to Charlotte from New York in 2018, I definitely took a salary cut, because you have to think of the cost of living. In New York, you're gonna get a higher salary because the cost of living is so much higher. When you come down to a southern city, the salaries are not gonna be as high as they are up north. So that goes into you know, the cost of living and things like that. I will say the salaries here in Charlotte need to get with the times though. They need to realize, these companies need to realize how much Charlotte is growing and how much the cost of living is going up as well. So I do feel like some of the salaries in certain industries, I don't know what field you may be in, but you know, if you are in a different field, but you know, you're getting paid one thing here and then you're looking at here, you're like, what? You know, you have to take that into account. Like, oh, okay, well, does this salary decrease, is that really gonna affect much? Because yes, my rent is lower and things like that. So you definitely have to pay attention to that. So that is, you know, something that you really have to take into account, that the salaries are not gonna necessarily be on the same level if you want to keep your same job in that same field and things like that for companies here versus if you're coming from, you know, a major city. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. All right, so after housing, after jobs, let's get into, okay, what am I going to do outside of work? What is there for me to do in Charlotte? This is a loaded topic. I feel like people who move to Charlotte and come here, they're just like, it's so much to do. Don't get me wrong. If you like certain things, there's a lot for you to do here. Let's just start off with just like general things for you to do here in Charlotte. So in Charlotte, we do have a national football team, which is the Carolina Panthers. We do have a national basketball team, which is the Charlotte Hornets. We have a minor league baseball team, which is the Charlotte Knights. And yeah, we're getting a soccer team. I don't know if it's minor or major, but we getting a soccer team soon. So we have major sports teams here. So you know, during football season, you definitely have to go check out a Panther game. I'm not much of a basketball girl, but basketball games for you to go to. Baseball games, actually, I'm not a huge baseball girl, but my boyfriend is, so we've definitely gone to a couple of the Knights games. It's fun, chill, just something to do. They usually do fireworks at the end of the games and things like that. So you have, if you're into that type of entertainment, by all means, you got something in every sport. Along with that, we do have Carowinds, which is an amusement park that is right on the border of North and South Carolina here in Charlotte. So if you are, you know, into theme parks and things like that, or amusement parks, Carowinds is definitely a great amusement park to go to and check out, especially like during the summertime and things like that. There are a lot of different things for you to do if you like wineries. I know for me, I love to go to a winery with my girls. There are definitely, there's none specifically in Charlotte, but literally there's one I love that's like 20 minutes outside of Charlotte, which is the Treehouse Winery. You can rent out a treehouse. My boyfriend actually did that. We had like a cute little date night. So there's different wineries you can go to that are around the city. Now, let me tell you this. If you like to drink beer, Charlotte is the city for you. Listen, if they build another brewery in this city, I don't know. I really don't know. That is the one, I feel like that is the one thing that is consistent here in Charlotte. Every week, I am seeing something about a new brewery being built, okay? So there's this Instagram page called, well, it used to be called Charlotte Agenda. It's now called iAxis or Axis. I don't know. I'll put it here on the screen for y'all to see. This page usually is like the page everyone goes to see what new restaurants are coming up, which new bars are coming up and things like that. They typically post, you know, all the new businesses and things like that. So I kid you not, every week there is a new brewery coming to Charlotte. I don't drink beer, but listen, if I did, I would have unlimited options to choose from to drink here in Charlotte, okay? So I will say that if you're, you know, a beer drinker, if you're into, you know, going to breweries and things like that, Charlotte definitely got you covered, okay? Along with new breweries coming, there's always new restaurants. That's personally one of my hobbies. I love trying out new restaurants. I love trying out new places to eat and things like that. I never one of my friends was like, Zenese, you literally just eat your way through Charlotte. Yes, I do. I love to try out new restaurants and things like that. So that's definitely something that I enjoy doing here in Charlotte. There's always some new restaurants popping up to try out and things like that. The brunch scene is trying to get there. I think what holds Charlotte back from having just like a poppin' brunch scene is the fact that we can't do bottomless mimosas. I know for me, especially DC will always be brunch city to me. DC is first and New York is a very close second. Having bottomless brunches is just like the perfect thing. But the fact that we can't have bottomless mimosas because it's technically against a law, I don't know which law it is. If I find it, I'll put it here. It's against a law in North Carolina. So, you know, but I love a good brunch. Like I said, that goes back to me trying different restaurants. I love going to different restaurants for brunch and things like that. But as far as like the whole brunch day party scene, we're not quite there yet, but we're trying. Another great page that I absolutely love is Charlotte Black Owned. They'll be right here on the screen for you guys to check out as well. Along with trying out new restaurants and things like that, I always make sure that I'm trying out and supporting new up-and-coming Black-owned businesses. And this page does a great job with highlighting the Black businesses here in Charlotte. So I definitely watch that page as well so I can add new places to my list to try out, because Black businesses are so important to support, just, you know, in general, but the new up-and-coming ones here in Charlotte, competing with all the breweries, deserve, you know, their shine and their support as well. So that's like eateries and restaurants and things like that. As far as the nightlife though, what nightlife? So the nightlife here in Charlotte is very slim to none. And that's just being completely honest. Nightlife here in Charlotte is very interesting because it doesn't really exist. Majority is like bars and lounges that, you know, people go to. I'm not necessarily a club girl, but you know, if you want to go out one night and celebrate, get a section and just pop some bottles and flex and all that, it ain't really nowhere to do that here. If you're not familiar with the epicenter here in Charlotte, it is literally right smack in the middle of downtown, right beside like the basketball arena and things like that. A few years back, that's kind of where everybody went. I know after graduating college and I came home for the summer, there was what they called a Live After 5. So it was this just like night, Thursday nights, all like young professionals would just go out. The different bars and stuff like that would have drink specials. People would go to Sweet, which was like the main nightclub there, or Vault. And it just was like a good time. People, you know, getting ready for the weekend, Thursday night. Even if you still had to work on Friday, you still was gonna go out and, you know, just have a good time. I felt like that was like a time and an era where, okay, nightlife was trying to be something here in Charlotte, but then once they stopped that, it just was like completely just done for. So I feel like once kind of a Live After 5 really ended, it ain't no nightlife here. And it's really sad because it's like the nightlife that they tried to promote and basically what's being provided to us is unfortunately geared towards just one demographic of people. Like I said, bars and breweries are what's it in Charlotte. So if you're not a brewery person, there's really nowhere for you to just, you know, go to and have a good time. There's a couple of different here and there spots here in Charlotte, but as far as just like places where I'm gonna say the minorities can go, because not everyone drinks beer and not everyone wants to listen to whatever pop music and things like that. There's no real like space in the nightlife for minority people, that the minority demographic that lives here in Charlotte. And that's just being completely honest. As someone, again, who has been born and raised here, in high school and when I would come home for college, there was always some sort of just like nightclub or somewhere for us to go to, but you don't really necessarily have that anymore. Rest in peace to 935, rest in peace to Label, that eventually turned into World or something like that, I don't know. So I will say that is definitely something to think about and something to just keep in the back of your mind. And another thing I really wanted to touch on, just kind of piggybacking off of what I said about there not being really a lot of just like minority spaces here in Charlotte, that has a lot to do with also just how segregated, yes, I'm going to say it because it is the truth, how segregated the area of Charlotte is. If you live in Charlotte, if you are from Charlotte, you know where I'm going with this. You can tell a lot about Charlotte by just going to each side of town. Like I told y'all, born and raised on the east side of Charlotte, okay? I feel like when people move to Charlotte, they only know maybe like, I can't even say two sides of town. They know one side of town, which is the south side, okay? Let's just put it out there. Let's just be very honest. When people move here, typically they are moving to the south side of Charlotte, which is the more affluent side of town, which is where they put a lot of money in Charlotte. They put money into that side of town. let's be real. If they put another thing in South End, South End is going to explode, okay? If they put another bar over there, if they put another apartment building over there, if they put another restaurant over there, South End of Charlotte is going to explode, okay? And that has a lot to do with, like I was just explaining, there's not really much to do outside of the downtown and south side of Charlotte. When you think about the south side of Charlotte, you're thinking of South Park Mall, has the best mall in Charlotte. South End, which literally has every new restaurant, every new brewery, every new bar, every new anything, I'm guaranteeing is going in South End. So when you think about and you look at the rest of Charlotte, it's like, where is the rest of the love for the rest of the city? I will say, like, the northeast side, we do have like the university area, so that is where UNCC is. So there's the boardwalk over there, and they're really, like, you know, they're kind of building that area up over there near UNCC. So right where the boardwalk is, you know, that's a major stop for the light rail. So there's a lot of different like food eateries and things over there. So I will say that, but the rest of the sides of the towns do not get any love, and that's just being 100% honest and 100% real. I think on that same Charlotte Agenda page I was just telling y'all about, I saw that they were building a brewery on the east side of Charlotte, and so I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I went to the comments, and kid you not, people were like, oh, you lost me when you said the east side. Y'all, let's be real honest. The east side and the west side are the most heavily populated with the minority demographic, okay? And the north as well, I will say that too. So I would say just about any area other than the south side is very heavily minority, is a heavily minority demographic. So they don't put a lot of the new things in the new places in these other sides of towns, which is like, come on, Charlotte, y'all gotta do better. You gotta do better. Like I said, if y'all put another thing over in South End, it's gonna explode. So how about taking that and putting it somewhere else in Charlotte? Literally everywhere in Charlotte is 20 minutes. You can get from one side to the other side 20 minutes, okay? So it's not like it's far. It just really shows you, that just again shows you how segregated the different sides of towns can be. And that spills over into schools and things like that. I believe I read an article not too long ago that CMS, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, is one of the most segregated school systems. Yeah, let's talk about it. You know, a lot of people, you know, we want to have this conversation about, oh, Charlotte is so great, this and that. Let's be real. Let's talk about it. Those are issues that need to be addressed. And I just feel like with a lot of the gentrification that is also happening in Charlotte, it's making it even worse. Let's take the west side of Charlotte. The west side of Charlotte is probably one of the most heavily minority demographic here in Charlotte. And the rate that they are trying to gentrify the west side of Charlotte is just like, woo, y'all really trying to get us up out of here, okay? Y'all really trying to get us up out of here. But those are just like, those are, and I as someone who is from here, but if I was moving here, I would want to know those things. I would want to know, and that's just like with anywhere that you're moving. You want to know, like, oh, what the demographics look like on this side of town. And I know this may not be a concern for people who are not a minority, but you know, living somewhere where it's like, am I going to be the only minority person there? Are they going to look at me weird when I'm going out to walk my dog because I'm the only minority in the premise, you know? So you have to, those are just completely just like honest things that you have to think about and research and things like that. And a lot of people don't want to tell you or don't want to even bring it up, but it's reality. If you're moving somewhere, you should know those things. And if you're moving here and you have children and you know you want to look up, oh, what's the best schools and what's this and what's that, you need to know those things. So that's why I didn't want to sugarcoat it. I didn't want to just skip over it and just not mention it, because that it all ties in together. So when I say there isn't a vast diversity in the nightlife and things like that, you have to think about the diversity of the city as a whole. Charlotte is very diverse. I went to a very diverse high school here in Charlotte. But like I said, there's certain sides of towns that you go on to, and you'll see where the diversity is and you'll see where it's not. So as you can probably tell from what I'm saying, on the south side of Charlotte, there is less diversity than there is in the other areas of Charlotte. And I do feel like the city kind of plays into that. And you can see by what they are putting, where they're putting their money and where they're not putting their money. So now that we've touched on that subject, we can go into the next subject, which is making friends and networking, and you know, which I feel like plays a part in where you hang out and all those things like that. So I feel like it is definitely beneficial if you have someone who lives in Charlotte, or a friend or someone, family member, somebody that you already know here, because it can definitely help make the transition into Charlotte a little bit better. Because I will say, moving into Charlotte, just not knowing a soul, not knowing anybody, not knowing anything, it can be difficult, because Charlotte is not a major city in the way like you can just go out and make friends in your first month here. Like, it's definitely not that easy, because we don't have a ton of events that go on, especially with, you know, COVID and everything like that. We don't have a ton of networking events that you can necessarily go to help make friends. But you know, if you have someone, or at least somebody you kind of talk to on social media or met on Instagram, and it's like, oh, I'm moving to Charlotte, we should grab lunch. Grab that lunch. Don't BS, don't flake, grab that lunch. Because that one person can introduce you to multiple, like their friends, and introduce you to more people, and kind of just get you acquainted into the city. Because honestly, I feel like if you go out and you go to that lunch by yourself, ain't nobody gonna just gonna walk up to you and be like, hey, da, da, da. Like, no, that ain't Charlotte. So I would definitely suggest or highly recommend having a friend, an associate, an old classmate, or somebody who you can connect with. And I just feel like that's kind of beneficial in any city that you move to, any new city that you move to. That's definitely beneficial to have somebody to kind of just like help bring you in and get you acquainted with the city and things like that. So that's networking and friends. And also, which leads me into get you somebody who's gonna tell you where things are in Charlotte, because you need a car. You're gonna need it, okay? Charlotte is not a New York. Charlotte is not a DC. Charlotte is not a, I don't know. Charlotte is just not the city you come to with no car. You absolutely need a car. We do have a bus transportation, as well as we are now getting a light rail, which is, well, we have a light rail. They're continuously building on it, so it's not at all the places that it's meant to be yet. But it is a light rail system that is kind of similar to a transit train system, I guess you would say, but it does not go to it does not go to all sides of Charlotte just as of now. It does not go everywhere you need it to go. I will say it is convenient if you're going downtown for something, or if you work downtown, you can drive to one of the stops, park your car there, and take the train or take the light rail into the city, so that you don't have to pay for parking every day. It is effective in those ways, but as far as just like an everyday type of transportation method, that's not it. So make sure you have transportation if you are moving to Charlotte, because the bus system goes pretty much everywhere. However, it will take you hours. So if you live on one side of town and work on another, but you don't have a car, so you have to take the bus, that's gonna be at least like a 2-hour commute. So just, you know, keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your head when you know, if you don't have a car. If you're coming from New York or something like that, where most people don't have cars, and you're coming to a southern state, you need a car, okay? So yeah, that is pretty much a sum. I didn't go too deep into detail on things. I kind of wanted to just keep it very general and just kind of give you guys an idea of what Charlotte is. Overall, I will say I love my city. This is home. This will always be your girl's city. I am a Charlotte girl to the day I die. But as someone who has lived in other major cities, I see areas that Charlotte can work on and improve on to make it an even better city. So if you're thinking about moving to Charlotte, I hope this video was helpful. If you recently moved to Charlotte, let me know that you recently moved here and what's some things that you're looking for or want to know about Charlotte that you haven't experienced or haven't explored yet, and I can definitely do videos on that. So I really hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all in my next video.